Good afternoon, friends. It is beautiful and sunny here in Kansas City, and I hope it is wherever you're watching from as well. I am Cynthia Fales, the Joy Sherpa, filling in for Lauren today, but still have some fun stuff planned for you on this IHKC Live, no less. Before we get into any of the fun that we're going to have, I want to make sure that we give you a quick overview of what IHKC is. Innovator KC believes in a world where women plus leaders of all background and creeds are empowered and encouraged to step into leadership with all of the knowledge, the support, and resources that they require so that we can radically, positively change the world for better. And all of our programming is geared towards making sure that we are activating, elevating, and encouraging women and individuals from marginalized gender groups all across the Kansas City area to step comfortably into these roles of leadership. And we do that through supportive community, connections, championship, and mentorship. And one of the things that we offer is a uh, very valuable community that is full of amazing and authentic business owners. And one of the benefits that they get is to come on IHKC Live and share part of their story with us and with you all who are our watchers and those of you who are joining the conversation today. Before I bring today's guest on, make sure that you tap in and say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Are you watching from work? Just type it quietly, maybe, or pretend like it's an email. That works as well. But I am super excited to bring today's guest on with me today. They are the owner, founder, and operator of Ari Rose Body Care, and also an author as well. And we're going to be chatting about all things, not just cosmetics, but it'll be a little bit more than skin deep. So let me bring to the stage Miss Jess Wins. How are you?
Good. How are you, Cynthia?
I'm
Thanks
good.
for
It's
having me here.
good to connect with you again.
Absolutely. Last time it was in person, and
It
now we get
was.
to see each other virtually.
Yeah. We're going to probably carry on some of the conversation that we had the last time in person. But I'm super excited to dive in today. So, we're talking about being a conscious business and a conscious consumer.
Mhm.
Um, but before we talk about any of that,
Yeah.
one
What?
of one of my favorite things
What are we hanging
ab-
now?
about IHKC Live is that
Mhm.
we have a segment. We used to call it Quirky Questions, but
Mhm.
the Quirky Questions used to drone on for a while.
Okay.
So I've renamed it Quick and Quirky, which
Ooh,
is a little hard to say.
yes.
But quick and quirky gives us the same opportunity to dig in, to get to know you on a different level. Then we'll hop into the conversation
Sure.
about conscious entrepreneurship and being a conscious consumer. But I do want to switch to quick and quirky,
Let's get
our
quick.
60-second snapshot. So you'll have 60 seconds.
Okay.
It will look like a timer is on the screen, but really I'm going to use the timer on my phone.
Got it.
That way there's no pressure from the seconds ticking off on the
Okay.
screen. But you pre-selected a few numbers, three different numbers, but you haven't seen these questions yet, correct?
Correct.
All
Yeah.
right, so I will read these questions, and what I'd like for you to do is just give me the first answer that comes to mind.
Okay.
Um, don't overthink
I will not. I shall not overthink.
All right. So you chose number 8 first,
Okay.
which is that's a fun one. What's a hill you'll happily die on, even if nobody agrees with you?
Ugh. No. Ugh. Okay. Um, this might rub people the wrong way, I guess. Big pharma.
Oh.
Big pharma. Just saying it that way probably
Yep. That probably
ruffles
triggered
some
some
feathers,
people.
but
And you know, it is what it is.
yeah, I thought I can definitely there's big conversations can be very, neutral with it too, but it's just for me and my personal,
Yeah,
and family. So yeah.
I get it. Oh, that was fast. Still 15 seconds to go. All right.
Well, I mean, how deep do you want to go?
Yeah, I know.
But I think saying that it just, it explains it. It
I think
explains
it does. I think it does. All right. You also chose question 13, which is, if your mood today was a weather forecast, what would it be?
it would be sunny with a chance of rain.
Mm.
Only because, when you have kids, which I have a few of them, there's always an opportunity. There's always that shift that can happen at any point in time where things can be going great and then you can just, totally lose your crap on them
Mhm,
and
mhm.
in life.
Yeah,
But I mean, they're the source of immense joy and immense craziness, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that's what it would be. Sunny with a chance of rain.
Sunny with a chance of rain. I love that. You're answering faster and faster. I just gotta you have 20 seconds
You gotta
left
keep
after
up with
that one.
me, huh?
I know. All right, and then your last, selection was number 3. Here's your question. If you could only listen to one genre of music for the rest of your life, which would it be?
Oh boy.
Oh, I know. That's a
That's a
tough one.
tough one because um there is a woman by the name of Chantra Seba,
Mhm.
and I think so I like all kinds of music. I mean, I just and it's tough because this is really hard because I fluctuate between, like, even going back to, like, 90s music from when I grew up to, like, modern day hip hop.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if there's modern day hip hop. Hip hop kinda I think we lost a little bit of that.
It kinda
Maybe
disappeared,
now
I
it's
know.
called hip hop, but it's something different. But needless to say, this woman just makes really beautiful music, and we listen to it when we're going to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I feel like, it's very high vibrational, it's very healing. And
Mm.
if I had to listen to that type of music for the rest of my life, then I would be good mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally. So that's what I would pick.
Yeah, that's a good answer. You would tap into some of the more natural frequencies that
Mhm.
are already in existence there.
Absolutely, yeah. I would want something that could provide that level of,
Mm.
that high vibrational level because, I mean, if you are aware of, I think, what's you might know, esophageal frequencies. Are you
Mhm.
familiar with
I've
them?
heard of them, vaguely familiar, yeah.
Yes. So, basically, there's different frequencies of sound, and
Mhm.
that sound can heal us of different ailments or, mental health, physical health.
Yeah,
It's all holistic anyways. So I'm conscious of that when listening to music, although, like I said, I do listen to music from different times, but,
yeah.
if I was going to have to listen to one for the rest, I wanna make sure that it is gonna be that
Mhm.
level of healing, truly.
And alignment, yeah.
Mhm,
Ooh, okay.
mhm.
That's a good segue.
It is a
Into
great
it
segue, actually.
Yeah, into what we're talking about.
Mhm,
So
mm,
we're talking about, your business,
mhm.
Ari Rose Body Care, and tell me a little bit about, um tell me a little bit about Ari Rose. We'll start there.
Yeah. So Ari Rose is a consciously crafted body care company,
Mhm.
and we produce, and manufacture all of our products. And everything from, sourcing the ingredients to production, manufacturing, shipping, and fulfillment. So,
Hmm.
um, I started the company. Well, I began producing and making product in 2012, 2013,
Yeah.
and then officially launched the company in 2017. And we've been going ever since then.
Yeah.
It has been quite a journey, as I mentioned before, being a mom, being a woman,
Hmm.
being Latina. Like, there's so many different elements to that.
Yeah.
Moving a lot. Like, we just had another major move, so um, there's so many things that play into what it means to be a business owner and running a business while navigating life.
Yeah.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
but in terms of Ari Rose, I mean, I let me know where you want me to start.
So, so you classify Ari Rose as, or maybe would you classify it as a conscious business? And
100.
maybe let's start with defining that.
Yeah, so for me, and that was intentional from the beginning, because the company started where, so take it a little bit further back. The I first had my first child I had at 20 years old. I'm 40
Hmm.
now, so it's been some time.
Hmm.
And, but I had her at 20, and she had a lot of challenges in the beginning. Um, and so in or of course, this is where big pharma comes in. I brought
Hmm.
her to get evaluated and, to see what's going on. She wasn't
Yeah.
speaking. She wasn't, um there were just a number of different things, and, the initial evaluation was that she had ADHD. That was
Hmm.
the first thing, and the doctor said, she can go on meds, or you can try some other alternative things, which I wasn't gonna put her on meds anyways. That was just my personal decision, and I figured, "Okay, let's try some diet changes and some other things that maybe can help her, heal through this experience," and so I did, and that was like the beginning of the journey of holistic health and wellness for me.
Yeah.
And oftentimes for a lot of moms, it is that, like, we want to do everything for our children, and we want to give them the best, so we're willing to do whatever it takes. So fast forward 8 years later, I was pregnant with my second daughter,
Hmm.
and when I was pregnant with her, I came across an article with the Environmental Working Group. And in that article, it said it was over 280 toxins were found in the umbilical cord blood of newborn babies.
Wow.
And I'm sure at this point it's got to be more, because that was like 12 years ago.
Hmm.
And so it was one of those things where, I had thought in my young, naive mind that I had eliminated so many things, when it came to diet, but I hadn't
Hmm.
looked into what we were putting on our skin and our body.
Yeah.
And this is talked about a lot more now, because, 12 years ago, though, it was not. It wasn't,
Hmm.
that conversation wasn't at least ongoing. So, at that point, I started looking into ingredients more and understanding even greenwashing. What is that? And these labels are saying it's natural, but what does natural really mean? And how
Right.
can I guarantee that what I'm putting on our skin is what, is safe?
Hmm.
And from that point, just having already done so much, I felt like the only way I could ensure that a product was safe was that if I made it.
Yeah.
So that's where I jumped into that journey. But really and truly, it was like, if I'm gonna put this on my children's skin and my family's skin, it has to be the best quality. That has to be sourced from the best, the ingredients have to be, properly sourced, and researching and looking into that, and what does that mean, and where is it coming from,
Yeah.
um, and then in addition to considering our environment. That was a
Mhm.
massive piece for me, and making sure that our packaging was environmentally friendly and using glass over plastic, but then also a few years down the line determining how can we eliminate even the amount of glass that we're using. And
Mhm.
and I came up with refill containers, and that was before even companies started providing refill containers for their customers.
Yeah.
So the consciousness comes in, and being a conscious business, I believe it should it should be from the beginning because it should be part of your values. And
Yeah.
who you know, it's because, and the reason why I say that is, as you and I probably both know, there are a lot of major companies, I would say, that, use the conscious consumerism movement and different aspects of what is trending in consciousness,
Mhm.
awareness, and
Yeah.
and use that for PR purposes or to sell more product. And I think those are two different things, right? I
Yeah.
don't necessarily. I mean, it's great that they want to do that, but at the same time, where was that prior?
Mhm.
And I think that that is also something to consider when you are calling yourself a conscious company or being a conscious consumer is
Yeah.
where are these values woven into the fabric of the company, and did they start off that way, or why did they decide to make the switch and change over? And having that awareness um, is important.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned that it needs to be there at the beginning. It needs to be present at the beginning, and it needs to be embedded in the values of your company itself. Um, and I also hold space for people making an intentional pivot into that when they discover additional information.
100.
Um, how, if there's a business owner that finds themselves wanting to make a pivot into that, what type of encouragement would you give them? What type of tips would you give them to make that pivot?
Yeah, I mean, make it and make it quickly, right?
Hmm.
Because if it's something that resonates with you and your spirit and it aligns with you, make the shift as quickly as possible, but also make sure your customers are aware of it in an authentic way,
Yeah,
right? To why are you making this change? How is it resonating with you and your values and your belief system? And if that's the case, have conversations around it, or just let your people know, let your clients and customers know what's
hmm,
going on and why it's important, because that's going to be a major reason why people are going to either continue with
yeah,
you or not. you know,
absolutely.
and
That
that's go ahead.
that authenticity bleeds through as well, doesn't it?
It does 100%,
Yeah.
and we can sense that, right? We can feel when someone's being true and authentic to themselves, and I think
Hmm.
that's honestly the best thing that we can do, especially in these times,
Yeah.
is authenticity beats anything else, and we have to be real with who we are and where we stand,
Yeah.
um, and that is going to our businesses are a reflection of that.
Yeah. And I I've had a few conversations with some folks who are hesitant to show their authentic
Mhm,
values as a business because they were afraid that they were going to lose potential customers. But the
mhm,
thing is, when you show up authentically as yourself,
mhm.
you draw in the people who are naturally looking for that thing that you have. They
Yeah,
find you. They find
absolutely.
you.
We can't make everybody happy, and I think that
Hmm.
that was the in that moment when you asked me that first question of what hill are you gonna die on? I mean, that's a
Yeah,
powerful question, but you're
it is.
inevitably going to piss somebody off. Someone's
Hmm.
not gonna like what you have to say or how you feel or what you think, and that's okay. because for every
That's
one
okay.
person, there's another one that does, and we just have to
Absolutely.
understand that we're here to be true to ourselves and
Mhm.
who's meant for us and our businesses as customers and clients will come, you know? Anything
Absolutely.
else would be a lack mentality, right? Of thinking that there's not enough and there is enough.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's more than enough. There's plenty for everybody.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Okay, so we kind of touched in on conscious consumerism through
Mhm.
the lens of being a conscious business, but I want to dig in a little bit deeper because we're all consumers of all the things, right?
Mhm.
Um, and I've seen a lot of, as you mentioned, businesses starting to make that pivot into being a more conscious business, so they say. But as a conscious consumer, if we choose to show up as a conscious consumer, um, what are some things that we should be looking for as we're
Mhm.
digging into the businesses that are um, seeking our revenue?
Mhm. Yeah. So as the consumer, you know, I feel like this is probably one of the most challenging times that we've ever had as consumers
Hmm.
because, um, I mean, Amazon, uh,
Yeah,
the ease of which
that
we can
convenience.
the
Oh my gosh.
convenience is
Yes.
so challenging to navigate,
Hmm.
and, um, and I think that and it's understandable too, right? Because if you even trying to go out and get things that we desire or things that we might need on the fly are not as accessible as they
Hmm.
used to be because so many stores are also closing down and closing up
Yeah.
shop. So, you know, it's like we have to also have grace with ourselves and understand that like we can only do the best that we can with what we got, but
Yeah.
being intentional, right, about how we are consuming and when we're consuming. And like for example, I know people who for their holiday shopping they only support small businesses, right?
Hmm.
Or maybe during certain months, in addition to holidays, you only support the businesses that you are um, that you want to make sure are receiving your funds.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that, you know, being a small business owner, I want customers to also reach out to me and ask me questions, right? So
Hmm.
don't be afraid as a consumer to reach out to the owner or to the business and ask them questions and
Yeah.
get clarity. Get clarity about their product or their service or I'm big on transparency of ingredients and where are they coming from and have they been
Mm.
tested, certain like supplement companies or things like that, like what type of third party testing have you done? And this just understanding and being unafraid to have those conversations and to ask important questions and see
Yeah.
where these businesses are aligning or not aligning with you, because on the front side they can look like they're in their that they hold a similar value system, but then when you dig a bit deeper, they might not. So I
Hmm.
think that it's just a matter of doing your due diligence and taking a little bit of extra time to research, to connect, to ask questions, um, you know, and see where these businesses land and if they would be one that you want to support.
Yeah. Those are all really good things for people to think through.
Hmm.
I would imagine it can probably feel a little bit daunting and overwhelming as well.
Hmm.
What kind of tips would you provide to help people avoid that overwhelm?
Oh boy. Well, overwhelm is is a beast in and of its own,
It
right?
is, isn't it?
Anything can trigger that, though. Anything
Yeah.
can trigger that. You know, for some people, they might love delving deeper into these types
Yeah.
of things, and it's exciting for them, and they want to know, and they're curious, and it's like a whole new world that's opened up for them. So they kind of like, well, I'm not gonna purchase anything unless I know this, this, and this about them.
Hmm.
But in terms of others who might feel like this is an overwhelming experience, just start with one thing.
Hmm.
You know, like it just popped up in my head, diapers, right? But it can be any product. It could be a feminine care product, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you want to transition from using tampons or pads or products that are using bleach and other carcinogens in their
Mm.
production processes, and you want to use a cleaner feminine care product.
Yeah.
Just start with one thing and then look into that, and your whole world will be open up
Hmm.
because you'll be like, "What?
This is
This
like
is
dropping
the"
a pebble in the water, right?
Yes,
Those
exactly,
ripples
like
get bigger and bigger.
rabbit holes, you know?
Hmm.
But once you start to lean into whatever that is for you and whatever product that you're looking to make the transition,
Yeah.
you'll start to see that other things are it's like the algorithm of life.
Hmm.
You know, it's like once you start searching something on your phone, you start seeing multiple other things in that area that now it's like, "Oh, wow,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that existed." But I think it also happens just in our everyday reality because what you focus on is what you're putting your energy into is what you see.
Yep.
So, it's like if I made the intention of looking for, red cars, like, I'm gonna see red cars everywhere, right?
Hmm.
But not until I set that intention and actually put my focus and my energy on that will it happen.
Absolutely.
So, it's the same thing, in my opinion, with doing
Yeah.
that sort of research. Mhm.
It's like answering the question of how do you eat an elephant, right?
One day
One bite at a time.
at a time.
One bite
Yep.
at a time. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, as you were talking, I started thinking about um, both sides of this coin, right? Being a conscious consumer and a conscious business, and how finances can have an impact for both sides, right? And I want to talk through the lens first of the conscious business. So
Mhm.
put that hat back on for a second. um, so you're intentional about creating not only experiences that help to educate people, but also ones that are focused in sustainability and accessibility. How does profitability balance into that equation for you?
Yeah, so I can only speak for myself, right? Because I know that there are businesses that are wildly successful.
Hmm.
And not and there are some people who would say that, like it's all perspective, right? I know that someone could see my business and be like, "Oh, that you're very successful in what you've done and what you've created." But then I have like my eyes on even, bigger and
Yeah.
whatnot. But so in regards to that, I think it's in my experience, it has been tricky because when you are so aligned with your values, you're also leaving a lot of money on the table
Hmm.
because there are so many things that I could have done that would have likely, in theory, generated a lot more income.
Yeah.
Even something as like going on back in the day, I got offered this was before Amazon had like a beauty section of their site,
Hmm.
and they were going to be pouring a lot of energy into creating that whole experience for customers and bringing on a lot of beauty brands. And so they offered, hey, we'll for free, we'll do all the things to help you onboard and get you your brand onto here. And I refused. I was like, I am not going to
Yeah.
be part of Amazon,
Yeah.
right? um and this, like I said, this was like 2016.
Mm.
So, but when because I'm in this industry of e-commerce and products, I've talked to other people who have. put their
Yeah.
products on Amazon and had great success, because
Hmm.
it opens your business up to clients or customers um, all over, like all
Yeah.
over, even internationally. So you could really blow up, as they say, by putting your product in on a platform like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was something that it was a hard no for me. And
Hmm.
so you like that clearly has an impact.
Yeah.
It just does.
Well,
Uh,
there's a line, right?
right,
There's a line.
right. But it's like, okay, I felt like I did not want anything that was in it. I didn't want to be a part of anything that was going against small businesses.
Hmm.
And but there's always two different sides to the coin. Someone could say, well, this being on that platform helps this business blow up.
Yeah.
So it really is just it is perspective and the individual's experience. But again, too, with product base, I have a lot of customers that I had more back in the day, who would say, hey, can you make a product that has this and this scent, like cherry or whatever it was?
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to explain to them, like, that's actually a fragrance. You can't find a essential oil that is that scent that you're asking.
Yeah.
Um, and so these are things that I had to educate on, but
Yeah.
also that it was like, okay, I know that if I just went the route of making products that my customers are asking for, that I know they'll buy because they're used to the Bath and Body Works. They're
Hmm.
used to the Victoria's Secret. They're
Right.
used to these the Body Shop and these companies that are using even Lush.
Hmm.
Lush is uses a crap ton of fragrances.
Yeah.
And they're known to be more natural, but at the same time, I just could not do that. I
Hmm.
I could I couldn't bring myself to step outside of what I knew was true to me and my family, and I also wouldn't put it on my own children, so why would I sell that to you? So,
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
it's just, yeah, it financially, from that perspective and revenue, it can take a hit. Uh,
Hmm.
but then also, like we spoke to before, you got to find your tribe, your people that are like, no, I'm in alignment with what you're doing. I see
Yeah.
you. I see what you're doing, and I see what you're creating here, and I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what has surprised you most about the people that your products have either reached or impacted, the
Yeah.
tribe that you've developed.
So I thought coming into it that I was going to be attracting like what they call granola mamas.
Hmm.
Right, like these crunchy mamas that
Yeah.
only want to put, like, natural products on themselves,
Yeah.
and come to find out, that was not my customer base.
Hmm.
My customer base was actually women that were professionals and
Hmm.
didn't have the time to, like, make their own little stuff in the house, that they just weren't granola mamas. Like, granola
Yeah.
mamas are gonna be the ones that are gonna make the product,
Right.
right? They're not gonna buy that from me.
Yeah.
So the women, primarily the, female, uh, customer base, they are professional working women and moms, and they do not have the time to be
Hmm.
producing their own stuff, and they are conscious about they also don't hadn't necessarily had the education around it,
Hmm.
but they felt like they wanted to be more conscious about their what they're putting on their skin and their body. And so they said, well, this is a brand that I know I can trust.
Hmm.
And so it aligns with the direction I'm looking to go. And and they they chose the product because of that. So, and I've had customers from day one. I mean, I have a very loyal customer base, thank God, because the times, man, the times from when it started, between
Yeah.
COVID and all the things, and
You
now
had a
what's
hard
going on.
yeah, right in the middle.
Good Lord. So yeah, it's been an interesting observation to see who
Yeah.
exactly is purchasing.
Yeah. Well, it's
Mhm.
good to know that though, because now you can find them. You know exactly where to
Yeah,
look for them. Yeah.
you can kind of, I guess, but that's the thing. I haven't.
Mhm.
There's so
Yet.
many ways.
You haven't yet.
I haven't yet. Facebook ads and all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's so much as a business owner that you can do, but
Mhm.
it's also overwhelming.
Mhm. Can we talk about that next?
100%.
So that's yeah. Any business owner. I mean, it's tough already for moms. It's
Mhm,
tough already to be in the working world, but when the business is yours and
mhm,
when it's so intentional and deeply personal, we pour so much more into it,
mhm.
right? Can
Right.
you talk about how you care for your own well-being while still caring so deeply about others in what you're creating?
Okay. So I love this question because I believe that if I'm not doing what I preach to
Mhm,
people,
mhm.
then for me, I feel very, not even hypocritical. It just doesn't sit well with my spirit because I it's a lifestyle at this point. It's a, how do I wake up, and when I look in the mirror every day, how, like, do I resonate with what I'm looking at? Because there
Yeah,
have been times where I look at myself and I'm like, I don't know you. I
yeah.
don't recognize you because I'm not taking care of myself.
Mhm.
And so I'm a firm believer in, I've always said body care is holistic, because it's not just about what I put on my skin or what people put on their skin. It's about how much sleep you're getting, what are you consuming, what are you watching. Consumption is not just, yeah, and consumption is also, it's what we're eating and drinking,
Yeah,
but also watching on TV or taking in on our
everything.
phones, or what are we listening to?
Listening to mhm.
All of those things, because, and then how are we handling stress? Um,
Yeah,
and I know that we live in extremely stressful times, and at the end of the day, it is up to us to manage how we internalize and how we handle the stressors in our lives. And it's really
yeah.
difficult. I have 4 children, and 3 of which are in the home. My oldest moved out, but I still, trust me, like, she's still very much a kid
Mhm.
who needs mom's support and guidance.
Yeah.
Um, but how we manage our stress, because that causes inflammation. Like,
Mhm.
all of these things cause inflammation in the body that manifests in, whether that's bloating or constipation or swollen faces, water retention. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
different things, illnesses and disease. So it is really, really important for me to make sure that I am taking great care of myself. And I'm very much a stickler on routines
Mhm.
and structure and implementing that, because also as a small business owner, I have no one to report to, no one to tell me what I need to be doing and when. So
Yeah.
implementing that structure for myself has been essential in my own growth and success. So that is, like, first and foremost,
Mhm.
how I take care of myself is, like, the most important thing. And then I feel authentic in communicating this to other people, especially my customers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You can't pour from an empty glass, right?
No,
There's literally nothing to give. Yeah.
no, not unless you're looking to burn out, and I've done that, and I got the T-shirt, the sweatshirt, the
Mhm.
hoodie, the hat. I don't need any of that. I'm
I don't
done.
need to wear that proudly either. No.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that that was like a message for some time to
Yeah.
us, is like, you know, hustle, hustle, hustle,
Mhm.
and be proud of of working crazy and completely running yourself into the ground. And like, that's just such a
Mhm. I'm
not
with you.
healthy construct.
Is that another hill that you're
Yes.
gonna add that there?
Add that to the hills.
2 hills now so far.
It's a few hills, but listen,
Oh my
that's
goodness.
one.
Oh man. Oh yeah. So we've covered a lot of ground today. But I love that this conversation has pivoted into healing, in the
Mhm,
area of healing. Um, I guess to me, so we're running short on time.
mhm,
If I could ask you one final question, I think it would be centered in that space. And I want you to think from your brand's perspective.
mhm,
If your brand could whisper one thing into the heart of everyone who uses your products, whether it's related to your products or related to healing or related to something else, what would that one thing be?
if it
What
could
would you say?
whisper into the hearts of my customers.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I think it is that body care is holistic.
Hmm.
You know, and that's where I land every time, because I've never felt comfortable just trying to sell a product to someone and saying to
Yeah.
them, this is going to completely, you know, solve your problem. It's
Yeah.
skincare in general, speaking candidly, is a band-aid. And that's if it's quality. If you have a quality skincare, I have plenty of customers that have had skin conditions and different um, challenges, and the product has absolutely helped them, because whatever they were using before was irritating them so much that,
Yeah.
you know, transitioning to natural skincare helped tremendously. At the same time, I'm also a functional nutrition counselor, so I've studied nutrition, and I'm very aware that what our skin is telling us is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. And we have
Hmm.
the gut microbiome, and we have the microbiome of the skin, and that can be degraded in different ways.
Yeah.
And because of our lifestyle. And so I would feel like a complete fraud trying to say, "Hey, use this for, you know, and you'll look amazing, and your
Right.
problems will go away." Like, yes, it's super supportive, it's super helpful. It is a tool that you can
Hmm.
use in conjunction with your entire lifestyle that should be supporting you and your body and your health and your wellness.
Absolutely. My goodness. That's a great note to have whispered into your being.
Long note.
Right. That's okay. We're still listening. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Jess, thank you so much for joining me for today's chat. How can our viewers find information about you and Ari Rose?
Yes. So viewers can check out Ari Rose at arirosebodycare.com, ARI, Rose like the flower. And that is also our handle on all social media platforms, at least Facebook and Instagram. Not a big TikToker, but you know, we're getting there, figuring it out.
Is what it is.
A generational thing.
Yeah, that's what it is. Awesome. Well, you all make sure that you give Jess a follow. Jess, thank you again for today. This was great. And those of you that have made it to the end, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you like, that you comment. We will come back and chat with you if you have any questions for us or for Jess. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell. And we'll see you in the next IHKC Live. Have a good one.